Hi everyone, my name is Noza, and today we have another guest from Kazakhstan.
Hi, my name is Aitolkan. I am from Kazakhstan. I'm in my master's degree, majoring in computer science.
My name is Alisher, and I'm a PhD student here in KAIST in Chemical and Biomolecular Engineering Department.
What did you do before KAIST?
I did my bachelor's here at KAIST. It was computer science from the very beginning.
I did my bachelor's in Ulsan National Institute of Science and Technology. I did my master's degree here in KAIST, and after that, I applied here to continue my studies.
I was wondering, in that case, did you ever consider other universities except KAIST? What made you choose KAIST in particular?
I joined the lab in my last year of bachelor's. I liked the lab, I liked the research I was doing, so I wanted to continue. I only applied to KAIST.
I decided to come here, and I did my master's degree and continuing my studies as PhD. Same professor, same lab.
In that case, how was your undergrad life?
It was challenging, but I enjoyed it a lot. I had a strong community from Kazakhstan.
Yeah, same for me, and it was pretty challenging, but because I really like my major and the topic I'm studying right now, I enjoyed it.
Then I would ask you a question about your GPA. How was your grades in undergrad?
It was something around 3.8. I graduated with honors.
For me, it's same. It's about 3.8.
Wow, 3.8. Hard numbers to get, I think. I was curious about what other things you did except academics. Anything worth to mention about your extracurricular activities?
KAIST, they provide some cultural classes for students. I was attending yoga classes. It was super cheap, and it was really nice. I liked the instructor. There are also a lot of events here at KAIST, like where we introduce our countries to other international community and Koreans. We travel to other cities.
I did a lot of volunteering job.
I wanted to shift the topic a little bit to the financial side of studying at KAIST as a graduate student. Did you get any scholarships or any support from KAIST and from your lab these days to sustain yourself on campus?
First of all, the tuition fees are covered. For computer science department, for grad students, they get 1.3 million Korean won on average.
It depends on the lab, and also it depends on your department.
On that road, I was wondering, how are you spending your money?
I think generally it's living expenses. For me, I live off campus. Most of my scholarship goes to that. And then eating, the scholarship we get is enough for us to feel free to go out when we want to travel if we want to.
For me, I spend most of my money for food. Yeah. I also live in the dorms. It's very cheap actually. Sometimes traveling.
You said you're living outside?
Yeah, off campus.
I was wondering, is it hard to get a place outside?
I looked for places several times, and it wasn't that hard. There are apps, pretty convenient apps that you can use to check the prices first, and then you can go and check the places. I think there are generally a lot available places around campus. I do think that you may need maybe help of those who can speak Korean if you do not speak any Korean, because you may need to talk to the real estate. It's better that you have it checked.
Yeah, I can relate to that. How about living in dorms? Are the facilities enough for you to be in dorm?
First reason I live in the dorms is because it's very cheap. Yeah, and it's very easy to apply there, and there are also many options. So you can choose your roommates, or if you want to live alone, you can apply for single rooms, and then also you can choose different dorms. And you can live in the north part or west part of the campus. So there are many facilities inside the dorms, free gyms.
What's your dorm, by the way?
My dorm right now is Nadulgon. Yeah, my dorm is like 5 minutes to walk.
I was wondering about your Korean level. Do you think Korean is necessary for, being at KAIST?
You can survive with English because our classes are in English, but I would recommend people to know Korean. You need to communicate to people outside, like when you go to the stores, hospitals.
There are many opportunities actually to learn Korean in KAIST here. There are many classes, free classes for international students.
I also go to this like classes that I had mentioned, like direct one-on-one classes with a Korean instructor. So I go weekly. We talk in Korean, so I get to practice my speaking a lot.
And they're free. On that note, do you have like a specific stories where you had a language barrier?
Every time I go to the hospitals, it's a little bit of stress. Usually nurses speak in Korean, so I do talk to nurses in Korean.
Doctor appointments are a big deal.
Yeah.
I experienced the same thing, so I always use the translator. But one good thing is here in KAIST, there's a KAIST clinic there. They all speak English, so it's no problem for international students.
I like how you mentioned the hospital at KAIST because KAIST is really like a small city, right? It has its own hospital, its own shops, cafeterias. You don't have to really go outside of campus. We even have a postal office.
Hair salon also.
Oh,
Hair
yeah,
salon, yeah. And there's a chicken place open, I know. About the facilities on campus, I know there is a visa center. Did you use their office?
Yeah, it's super convenient because I was here before it appeared, and we had to go to the immigration center like in Daejeon. You need to go to the immigration office pretty regularly. There are things you need to do there anyway. So it's really handy that it is right here on campus. There are not as many people as in the immigration center that's like outside.
I remember when I just come to KAIST, I had to extend my visa. At first, I didn't know where the immigration office in Daejeon, and it also took like around 30 minutes by car. And people there, not all of them could speak English at that time, but here everyone can speak English. You can also make an appointment anytime.
It's like inside campus, basically. I mean, all the staff speak English, no queues. That's like, wow, game changer. I want to ask one question that could be a little bit intimidating. What's after grad school? What's your plan after this chapter?
I would love to stay in Korea. I would try to apply for jobs. That's my current plan. I like research that I'm doing, but I also want to experience industry side for me.
For me, after I get my PhD, for several years, I want to work in the industry, take a rest from the academia. After that, I think I want to go back to research because I really like research. I really like doing science. And eventually, I want to be a professor.
Oh, wow. Postdoc after PhD?
Yeah, after PhD, doing postdoc and working in industry. And eventually, maybe someday, I want to be a professor.
I will be looking to it. I will be very excited to see where you will be. I want to ask you to tell like future students from Kazakhstan why they should apply to KAIST, why they have to choose KAIST.
If you're watching this and if you're considering KAIST for your grad school, you should definitely give it a try. I would choose KAIST for the growth opportunities that they provide here. You don't need to worry about financial aspects here. There are a lot of events, opportunities made to connect students with potential employers and basically to improve your network. That's why I would recommend.
Apply.
I think KAIST is really, really good place to do science, to do research, and I think it's one of the best universities for science and technology in Korea. So if you're really enthusiastic about doing research and to do science, I recommend to come here if you plan to apply.
Yeah, apply.
Apply as soon as possible. This is all for today. I want to thank you for joining us today and telling all of your stories. I was particularly interested. I'm wishing you all the best with your research and finding jobs. See you in the next video. Bye.
Bye. Okay.